The Miracles began in the 1950s in Detroit, Michigan, originally as a doo-wop group called the Five Chimes. Smokey Robinson, just a teenager with a notebook full of poems and dreams, was the group's lead vocalist. In 1957, they auditioned for a young Berry Gordy. Smokey's lyrics caught Gordy's attention, and just like that, the Miracles became the first group signed to what would eventually become Motown Records. In a way, they were Motown before Motown even knew what it was. Smokey wasn't just the voice of the Miracles. He became one of Motown's most prolific songwriters, penning hits not only for the group but for others like The Temptations, Mary Wells, and Marvin Gaye. The Miracles' first major hit, Shop Around, backed with Who's Lovin' You in 1960, sold over 1 million copies. It was Motown's first million seller, and it launched the label's legacy. After Claudette Robinson's departure, the remaining Miracles appeared on the TAMI show, a landmark 1964 concert film released by American International Pictures that included performances by numerous popular rock and roll and R&B musicians from the United States and England, filmed and recorded live at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium on October 28th and 29th, 1964. In early 1965, the group released Motown Records' first double album, The Miracles' Greatest Hits from the Beginning, which was a success on Billboard's pop and R&B album charts. Also in 1965, the Miracles released their landmark Top 10 album, Going to a Go-Go, under the new group name of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Throughout the 1960s, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles were everywhere. You've Really Got a Hold on Me, Ooh Baby Baby, The Tracks of My Tears. These weren't just songs. They were emotional snapshots of a generation. Smokey's voice had this gentle urgency to it, like a love letter read at midnight. And the group, they had harmonies that melted barriers. The Miracles' success continued with several hits, including More Love, Special Occasion, If You Can Want, and the top 10 hit I Second That Emotion. The year 1968 brought a second greatest hits collection, The Miracles' Greatest Hits, Volume 2, which was the group's second top 10 album, which featured the most popular singles from their successful Going to a Go-Go, Away We A Go-Go, and Make It Happen albums of the 1965 to 1967 period. But while the success was massive, something was changing behind the scenes. Smokey was being pulled in two directions, performer and executive. By the late 60s, he had taken on more leadership at Motown, becoming a vice president. His songwriting was in demand, and personally, he was starting a family. Baby Baby Don't Cry hit the Billboard Pop Top 10, and when the Miracles' 1967 song, The Tears of a Clown, their fourth Grammy Hall of Fame inducted hit, was released as a single in 1970, it became a #1 hit in the UK. It was subsequently released in the US, where it duplicated its UK success, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 pop chart and selling over 3 million copies. In 1972, Smokey made the difficult decision to leave the Miracles. A series of final live Miracles concerts with Robinson was released by Motown on the double album Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, 1957 to 1972. Also released that year was the group's last studio album with Smokey Flying High Together, with its single We've Come Too Far to End It Now, reaching the Billboard R&B Top 10, their 23rd visit to the top 10 of that chart. Many people thought the group would end without him. After all, he was the face, the voice, and the pen behind their biggest hits. But here's the twist. The Miracles kept going. In 1973, the Miracles, with Billy Griffin as the lead singer, re-emerged with the critically acclaimed album Renaissance. Their first without Smokey Robinson on vocals in 1974, after releasing the much-covered single Give Me Just Another Day. The group had their first top 20 hit in 3 years with the million-selling funk song Do It Baby. And not only that, they scored their biggest commercial success after Smokey left. In 1975, they released Love Machine Part 1, a funky, futuristic jam that hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100. Yes, that Love Machine you still hear in movies and commercials. It was proof that the Miracles weren't just Smokey. They were a group with their own sound and drive. So, what happened to Smokey Robinson and the Miracles? Smokey went solo and kept writing. His solo hits include Cruisin' and Being With You, both of which brought him back into the charts in the late 70s and early 80s. But like many artists of his era, Smokey faced personal battles, including a period of drug addiction in the late 70s and early 80s. He has since spoken publicly about hitting rock bottom and experiencing a spiritual transformation that helped him heal. He's been clean for decades now. Today, Smokey Robinson is still very much with us. At 85 years old, he's still writing, still recording, still performing. In fact, he released an album in 2023 titled Gasms, which turned some heads for its cheeky name, but also reminded the world that Smokey still has a twinkle in his eye and soul in his voice. He's a rock and roll Hall of Famer, a Kennedy Center honoree. He has a National Medal of Arts. Bob Dylan once called him America's greatest living poet. As for the Miracles, they continued performing into the 1980s before eventually disbanding. Several members pursued other projects or quietly retired from the industry. Unfortunately, many of them didn't receive the same recognition that Smokey did, even though they helped build the foundation of Motown. For years, the Miracles weren't even inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, despite Smokey's solo induction in 1987. It wasn't until 2012 that the Hall finally righted that wrong and inducted the original members of the group alongside him. Better late than never, but still, justice delayed. Today, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles aren't just music history, they're American history. Their songs shaped the civil rights era. Their sound defined the soul of the 1960s. And their legacy is alive every time a new artist samples their lyrics or when their harmonies float through a film scene or wedding dance. So what happened to Smokey Robinson and the Miracles? They evolved, they split, they conquered, and they never truly left. They live on in every heartfelt lyric, every slow dance, every "ooh baby baby" whispered in the dark. Their story is one of unity and individuality, of spotlight and shadows, of fame and fairness, but most of all, it's a story of soul.